What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another edition of Buckeye Film Breakdown. As always, I'm Jeremy. Opposite side of the screen, we got Coach Slate. Make sure you guys have tapped in all week to Buckeye Film Breakdown. There's been a lot of stuff coming out, and today's no different. The Buckeyes continued to portal shop.
Yeah, man. This transfer portal stuff is it. I know a lot of people get frustrated with it, but I love it. I love it. It is so you just don't know. It is just like the unknown. Everything is a surprise. People question whether the Buckeyes have a plan, and now they've got a plan. And some Buckeye fans love it, some Buckeye fans don't love it. It's like a soap opera, man. But it's been fun, man. The Buckeyes are staying active, and I think we got some good additions today, man. So it's been a good day for Buckeye Nation.
Yeah, absolutely. Before we dive into who the Buckeyes added, yesterday was a great example, though, of why NIL and or the portal is good for college football. The presumed number 2 pick, or at least number 2 quarterback in the draft, is staying in college. This is a dude in Dante Moore at Oregon who looked really good at times, but he
Yep.
also looked really bad at times.
Yeah.
And, I think he got some feedback that said, stay another year if you can.
Yeah.
And, I'm sure he's being paid very, very handsomely by Oregon.
No
Uh,
doubt.
but before NIL, that would have never happened. This dude rushes off to the league, gets put in a terrible situation, and he fails.
Yeah,
You
man.
know,
And yeah, that's one of the things that I love about NIL is that you're not seeing a lot of these early entrants into the league. I think there was some Twitter account that put out there was like, only 42 early entries into the draft this year, compared to a few years ago before NIL actually started, where there was like 120.
yeah,
I love that, man, because
yes,
now we're seeing a better game at the professional level. We're seeing a
yeah,
better game, players coming in more NFL ready, and I think that's great. I think that's great for the game of football as far in terms of the way that it's played. You're seeing these guys who are 22, 23 years old who are coming into the NFL with 5 years experience, 6 years of experience sometimes, and they're ready to play right away. And I know that maybe shortens their NFL career a little bit, but you're getting instant impact right away. And so I think it's a win-win for the college. I think it's a win-win for the NFL team as well. So it is a one positive thing about NIL. And hey, Dante Moore, more power to you, man. Go get ready to be the Browns quarterback of the future.
yeah, absolutely. They got to get a coach first.
Yeah, that
Um,
too.
Glaring need. We all knew it was a need. Um, you know, Obviously Jaden Fielding runs out of eligibility. Jackson Corville transfers to Tulsa. We had heard, ever since the portal opened, the Buckeyes have a kicker. They have a kicker in mind. And I'm pretty sure that their guy entered yesterday and committed yesterday.
Yeah.
Redshirt sophomore Connor Hawkins from Baylor. Uh, this dude was 18 to 22 on field goals. His only misses, 3 of his 4 were between 40 and 49, and he had 1 miss in the 50-plus range. But he was 3 for 4 from 50 plus and 10 for 10 from 20 to 39, which we even saw Jaden Fielding struggle with those. Definitely a win.
Yeah, definitely a win. Obviously, it was something that was needed. Getting somebody who has, hit some game winners, been in some pressure moments. Obviously, coming from Baylor to Ohio State, it's going to be a little bit of a different vibe, feel.
Oh, yeah.
Obviously, not just with the weather, but Buckeye Nation in general. If he misses one kick, the Buckeye fans are going to be on him. But just getting somebody who has been in those moments and made big kicks. One of the things that, Jaden Fielding his kicking percentage was not bad. He just missed big kicks, and that
Mhm.
was his knock. And that's one of the things that Buckeye fans were upset with. And so it's good to get somebody in here. Obviously, he's not made a kick for us yet, so the verdict is still out there, or the jury is still out there. So we'll see what he does. But nonetheless, we got a kicker. We can celebrate that. I don't think anybody's been excited to actually recruit a kicker like this, and so it's good. One thing I do want to note about the kicker situation. One thing that people were upset about is that Corvell never got an opportunity. those opportunities were had in practice, and he obviously never took, control of the situation to take Fielding's job. And the other thing, if he was going to be the guy, which he had an opportunity to be, he would have stuck around to be the guy. Like, that's one thing I want people to understand. Like, he didn't stick around and he went to Tulsa. That's not a knock on Tulsa, but I just want to put that out there. If Corville was the guy, he would have stuck around to be the guy. And so the Buckeyes obviously did not feel that he was going to be the right fit for the kicking position. So that's why they kind of let him walk. They got somebody else in here. So hopefully Hawkins is the right one and we don't have to worry about it anymore.
The first time he hits a 50-plus yard game winner, people are going to want to build a statue. Obviously you can't go into the season with one kicker on the roster.
Yeah.
There's going to be something added, be it, since a PWO doesn't technically exist anymore, a low end guy who basically, hey, we're going to pay for your school through NIL or something like that. They did offer the 26 kid from Pennsylvania, Jacobo Echeverria. Obviously that kid comes in, he's going to have work to do. He might be a kickoff guy, but I mean, his career long in high school is 41. So he's got some serious work to do. Also wouldn't be surprised to see if they bring in some sort of punter in the same same capacity. Joe McGuire obviously was a roller coaster. If Ohio State can line up right, McGuire has a massive punt in the Miami game.
Yeah, man.
That may have been a tide turner.
Huge pump.
We'll see. And then today we get a trio of booms, a trio of SEC booms. We get another one from the new Ohio State farm team, the Alabama Crimson Tide. Better pipeline, Glenville or Alabama? I mean, Cam Calhoun, cornerback, via the team up north, via Utah, via Bama. Comes with 2 years of eligibility. He redshirted when he was in Ann Arbor. Went to Winton Woods, played with Jermaine Matthews. This is a dude who obviously has matured because maybe best known to Buckeye fans as the corner who committed to Michigan while on an Ohio State visit and celebrated with them after the game in 2022. Very, very underrated. We were talking before we came on here. I think people are sleeping on him. I watched some film on him tonight. He's 6 foot 180. I think he plays longer than that.
Yeah.
Pretty solid ball skills, not afraid to hit.
Yep.
Obviously, with you being our defensive guy, though, what do you see out of him?
Yeah, one of the things that I had to go do is, I had to go back and look at his high school film. And I remember watching him in high school, and obviously him and Jermaine Matthews as a tandem was awesome. I was disappointed that he, the situation, on the Ohio State visit and celebrating with Michigan. But nonetheless, he is a very talented player. You look at what he did at Utah, and that is something that really stood out to me. He is a very, very talented young man, and I think he is underrated. He went to Alabama and he was behind 2 returning starters. And I know there are some Alabama fans out there that's, you were talking about it, said he got torched when he was in there, but he was a rotational piece. I do think he does provide some veteran leadership to that room. There's something about getting teamed up with one of your boys again, where you feel like, okay, I'm back with my tag team partner. There's something about that dog that comes out of you when you're comfortable with your guy again. And so I think being in that room with Jermaine and just having that comfort level with somebody that you used to go dominate with is going to really, I think, kind of put him on a little bit of a pedestal. I truly believe that. The other thing too is he knows that he pissed off a lot of people in Columbus with everything that he did. So he's going to come in with a lot to prove. Like, these fans aren't going to forget that. I got a lot to prove. I'm not saying he's going to be the starter. I'm not saying he's going to do, be a world beater for us or anything like that. But I'm just saying he's going to be a very, very good depth piece that could be a really good player for us. I don't want people to overlook it. He is a very, very talented player who's got that Cincinnati just dog in him. very, very similar to Jermaine. He likes to talk. He will get after it, and so I'm excited for this one. He's matured. 2022 was a long time ago, and I was happy about this pickup. I think it's a very underrated pickup, and he's a definitely a welcomed addition to the cornerback room.
Yeah, and watch his Utah tape. His Utah tape is really good.
Really good.
Obviously, like you said, Alabama, it was a little rockier road, but there were a lot of things there. You're not playing as much. You're just a rotational piece. And DB is one of those spots. It's hard to not you want to be in a groove.
Yep.
You want to be, in your head and just going. So we'll see what he does. Obviously I think he's coming in with the intent of wanting to play. I don't think you leave Alabama to come to Ohio State to just be like, hey, I'm a depth piece.
Yeah.
Makes you wonder, what the plan is, and we'll talk about it a little more here in a few minutes. But you're starting to get a lot of pieces in the secondary and a lot of pieces that want to play. So in between cornerback commits, we also get a running back. Guy Ohio State had been linked to for a while, Jacoby Jackson, 7th year out of Florida. So that's the second 7th year guy this year in the portal. So you're getting experience, you're getting physicality, you're getting kind of that grown man. Went to Coahoma Community College and then to Florida. We've always talked about you want to see somebody dominate lower levels of competition. And this dude did it at JUCO or a community college. He ran all over dudes. I mean, it was pretty crazy. 5'11", 214. He is coming off an injury, but this is a dude that I don't think Florida really wanted to lose. Like you hear people talk about him. Good teammate, good leader. It's a perfect portal piece looking ahead to the 27, class. I think it was Wilfong said that exact verbiage today, because you're not messing with David Gabriel George yet, as far as you're not interfering with his path. At 214, I think he's going to probably add a little bit of weight, muscle when he gets to Coach Mick. I think this guy could be what we all envision CJ Donaldson to be.
Yeah, I think he's pretty good, man. I had to go back and I watched so 2024, he had a pretty good game
Yep.
in against Texas. He had a game where he rushed for over 100 yards against Texas. Now, Texas put it on them pretty good that game, but he had a very solid game after he had a fumble. Rushed for over 100 yards, had some really good runs. I've got some clips I'm going to put together of that game to kind of highlight some of the stuff that he did. But he's a one cut and go type of guy. He's got really good vision. There was some really good gap scheme stuff that he really did a fantastic job of seeing the hole, getting vertical, and making his linemen correct. And so that was one of the things that I really liked. And I think that's one of the things that the Buckeyes really liked about him. I think the Buckeyes are going to kind of get back to some of that counter gap scheme stuff that they started to have success with. That was one of their adjustments that they went to in the second half of the Miami game. Some of the things that were just quick hitting. He also in the pistol outside zone. We know that's a staple in a Ryan Day offense. And so he does some of those things really well. And so I think that is one of the things that stood out to this coaching staff. Obviously, coming from the SEC, his 2024 film, he had over 500 yards rushing, average over 4 yards a carry. He is a very solid running back. I think he will compete for that RB2 spot. I think Bo is obviously going to be that number one, but I do think him and Isaiah West will be a really good competition for that RB2 spot. And like you said, bringing in that veteran presence who's done it in a big conference, done it in the SEC, I think it's only added value to that room. Hopefully he will be great in the red zone, but this is a guy, don't sleep on him. Don't sleep on his wiggle. Don't sleep on his power. He is definitely going to be a good piece to that room. And I think we needed another body in that room. There's no doubt. And I think this is a good one. I know the Buckeyes favored him over Frazier from Michigan State from all the reports that were coming out and the things that were being said online. And so I'm glad they picked him up. And like you say, get somebody from the SEC. You can't complain about that.
Yeah, and he's not slow by any means.
No.
You watch him, they used him in a lot of goal line. But there's definitely a burst there. I'll be very interested to see, because obviously, like you look at the guy from last year, and I don't know that there's a lot of work that Coach Mick needs to do, like there was C.J. Donaldson. You got to remember, C.J. Donaldson was a tight end,
Yeah, man.
at one point. So that's a lazy comparison on my part because he is going to be that bowling ball type back, but I think he's a faster bowling ball.
Yeah.
So we'll see though. And then late night tonight, like 20 minutes before we recorded, a surprise. I mean, it started to come out late. The youngest guy in the portal class. So we finally bucked the trend. We went with a guy. So he's going to be a sophomore, but he actually reclassified to the 25 class and should just now be a freshman. Dominic Kelly from the University of Georgia, 6'1", 190, a 4-star out of high school, went to IMG, and you can tell sometimes, you can't always tell, but a lot, especially like a program like Georgia, who I think their fans are pretty intelligent, when a fan base is as up in arms as these guys are, that not only did this guy enter the portal, but he ended up leaving and he's coming to Ohio State. Another over 6 foot tall and long.
Yeah. Yeah. The Georgia fans were not happy that, number one, that he entered into the portal. And obviously now that he's coming to the Buckeyes, not happy about that. This kid is a very, very good player. Coach Smart and the Georgia staff, thought that he had some bright future with the Georgia Bulldogs. There were some tweets out there that were from the Georgia beat, talking about him in pregame, just like how he's going to be a rising star in this program. This is a guy that you bring in and you expect him to play. It's just going to be completely honest. You expect him to play. He's going to come in and compete. I'm not saying he's going to start, but he is coming in to play. He is a very talented player. He's got everything that Coach Walton wants in a corner. He's long, he's rangy, he's got ball skills, he's got it all. And so I think this is a guy who's going to come in. He's going to push Jermaine. I think obviously Jermaine is going to be the guy, him and Devin on the outside. But I think this allows you to maybe push Jermaine down on the inside as a nickel, or maybe he is able to bump down as a nickel. Like they're going to try a lot of things out this spring. They're going to try a lot of things out. Okay. We brought Earl Little Jr. in. Is he going to be the nickel? Right. There's so many different things that they're going to try out. The one thing I haven't talked about a lot is that we talked about, maybe Earl Little Jr. is going to be that Caleb Downs role. Maybe that Terry Moore is going to be that Caleb Downs role. Jalen McClain is going to be Caleb Downs. That's the one thing that he's going to be that Caleb Downs type of player for us. So now that opens up what's that nickel position going to look like. So they're going to have a lot of bodies in that nickel spot this spring. So this kind of opens you up to put Jermaine in that spot and see how it looks. Dominic Kelly, great player. I'm excited we got him. Total surprise. Did not see it coming. When you text me, I was on my way home from gymnastics. I was like, what the heck? Like I was not expecting this. So this is a huge pickup, man. He's coming into play. Long rangy corner. So I'll never complain about that, man. Coach Walton got a dog, and I'm excited to see him develop over these next couple years. You pair him up with Jay Timmons and Jordan Thomas. I mean, and Devin Sanchez, watch out, man. This is a good group now.
Yeah. It's very interesting to see, we kind of assumed that Little and Moore both were coming in to start. It almost makes you wonder if those guys are coming in to battle each other.
Yeah. Yeah. And you just don't know. I mean, obviously Terry Moore is coming off of an injury.
Right.
So you just don't know what he's going to be. I hope he gets back to what he was, because Terry Moore was an absolute dog. And so I hope he's able to get back to that. But remember when we got Jihad Carter from Syracuse? He was an all-conference ACC player and it was an absolute stud, but he was injury riddled as well, and he could never get back to that caliber player. It never worked, and so I hope we don't run into that situation with any of the guys we brought in, but you just never know. And so that's kind of the risk you take. So you have to take a flyer on somebody like Dominic Kelly because he's one of the best. Let's go ahead and bring him in. He's only a sophomore. He's young. Let
Yeah.
him develop, and it gives you more versatility with the other guys in the back end.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of options. Circling back to Jacoby Jackson real quick. I saw a tweet tonight from former Buckeye, former Florida Gator, Taraja Mitchell. And he actually compared Jacoby's running style to Marcus Crawley. And
Okay.
I was a huge Marcus Crawley fan.
Haven't heard that name in a while.
That's a dude that had it, but he just couldn't stay healthy.
Yeah.
So I thought that was very interesting. I actually am going to try to hit Taraja up in his DMs and talk to him a little bit about it and see what kind of, info because he was at Florida,
Yeah.
So be very interested to see that. The much linked to Ohio State Desir twins from Florida State as of tonight are going back to Florida State. So take those names off the board. I don't think Ohio State gets involved in the Jordan Seaton sweepstakes because that's going to be a very expensive game to play. But I don't think they're done.
No, definitely think they're going to add another receiver. Reports are that, Kyle Parker from LSU, who has the connection to Coach Hankton, from obviously coming from LSU, is going to be the guy. We'll see when that comes out, or if it comes out that he's going to be it. Christian Moss from Kennesaw State is the other receiver that's being talked about. So we'll see if that develops. But I think they definitely want to add another receiver to that room. If it is Kyle Parker, I'm telling you, Kyle Parker is very, very underrated. He is a player. When he gets the opportunity, man, he is going to be a dude. He's going to be somebody that competes to be, the next outside receiver for us. If he is the guy that comes in. And so I think they're going to add that. And then I wouldn't be shocked if they try to add another edge. That's just me. If the right one comes available, I think they could add one more to that room just to add a little bit more competition. But it's clear they're not sitting on their hands. They want to be aggressive. They want to go get these guys. And so I think their plan is actually working.
You mean that Ross Bjork is not handcuffing Ohio State and he's not the worst thing ever to happen, and Ryan Day doesn't suck. Got it.
No.
Also, Baltimore Ravens, stay away from Ryan. That did come out today. So speaking of the Ravens, obviously fire John Harbaugh. Todd Monken goes with him. Todd Monken had been thrown out there as a possible Ohio State offensive coordinator. We now know he's going to the Giants with Harbaugh. What do you want out of the next offensive coordinator at Ohio State?
Man, that's such a tough question because you know what Ryan Day well, what Coach Day wants. Coach Day wants NFL background. He wants that experience. He wants to be able to be in a position where he wants to be a CEO, right? And I totally get that.
Yep.
If it were me, I want somebody who's young. I want somebody who's got energy. I want somebody who's got juice. I want somebody who's going to be a little innovative and is going to find creative ways to get the ball to our dudes. I want somebody who's going to find a way to get the ball to not just JJ, but I want to find somebody who's able to turn Legend Bay into Malachi Tony.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I want to find somebody who is able to maximize Brandon Ennis. I want somebody who's able to make our run game extremely simple and to maximize our offensive line. I want somebody who's able to do those things. And so I'm not saying, Coach Day and the guys we have not been able to do that. But when you have college offensive coordinators, the game is typically a lot simpler in terms of play calling, right? And the way that it's installed. When you get these NFL guys, it is so complex. Sometimes you worry about it getting too complex, right? And so like you worry about, am I giving them too much information? Are they going to be able to process it all? And our guys have done a great job of doing it. I think Coach Kelly did a phenomenal job of making it simple enough for our guys to understand. Obviously, Coach Day does a great job with that. And I know we're going to likely go the NFL route, but I would just like us to run like a perfect mix of, the college stuff and the NFL stuff, and then add some tempo in there too, man.
Yeah.
Like, I get the playing slow. I do. I understand the merit behind it. I understand it fully. It won us a national championship. It got us a 12-0 and a first round bye this year. Coach Day could go do that for the rest of his career at Ohio State, and I would be perfectly fine. I just think when we get up against those teams like Miami, tempo needs to be involved in our game plan somehow. And so I would like to see those type of things implemented. Just tempo, a more college-based style offense where we can go play fast and utilize a guy like Legend Bay that you can go get. And that's only going to make our offense, number one, more explosive, but it's going to spread the whole entire field and it's going to allow our running game to be more explosive. It's going to allow JJ to do a lot more things. It's going to allow Brandon Ennis and Chris Henry Jr. outside to do a lot more things. So that's what I would like to see in an offensive coordinator. Who that is, I have no idea. Right? I have no idea who that would be. I still think we're going to go to the NFL route, and if we do, that's awesome. But I would like to see more of a college, centered type of offense. And I just think that's the more simple we can get, the faster we can play. So that's where I'm at. What about you, man?
I think you hit on a lot of very, very high points. I do want to see some tempo back. Simplification is an interesting point, especially now because we have helmet comms.
Yeah.
Um, and I've really thought about this since the season ended. I know they used preservation as a reason to play slow, but there's probably a chance it was also a fact of they didn't want to overwhelm Julian. I really
Absolutely.
think that, the more I think about it, that that's also part of it.
Hmm.
Um, you know, Innovation, absolutely. I would like to see somebody who can take the running game a step up. Obviously, we know Ryan Day's pass concepts are phenomenal. He's a passing guru. I mean, he's a quarterbacks coach. Keenan Bailey, I think, obviously being on staff, he brings another element there. Tyler Bowen brings you a little bit of a run game element, but I think I want somebody who can really be that run game coordinator type person. But they have to also understand that you are being a head coach of the offense. Just like Coach Day wants, so he can be a CEO. I do too think that he goes the NFL route. I thought for the last month it was going to be Press Taylor, Brian Dable, somebody like that. But I think if the Bears keep doing what they're doing, Press Taylor is going to be hard to pry. I think
Yeah.
he's going to get an OC job somewhere in the NFL. Pulling a guy off of the Ben Johnson tree, though, is similar to the McVay tree. Those innovative young offensive minds. Um, you know, I know you're not crazy about it because you don't think Ryan Day would give him the reins because of the lack of experience. But when you factor in the run game, somebody that played with tempo, the NFL background now, I really can't believe I'm even like here. This is where it's brought me. Give me Joe Thomas Bear at the fourth. I mean, it. Urban Meyer always talked about how great of a coach he was going to be.
Yeah.
And as we follow the Browns coaching hire, because obviously we're Browns fans, and our guys Jake and company over at Buckeyes-Film-Breakdown, we talk to them daily. You follow and see that the Browns have a chance. I can't think of the guy's name from Jacksonville. Everybody's talking
Yadinsky.
about everybody's talking about him being in play for the Browns. That he's the next great young offensive mind. Him and Nathan Shieldhouse. Do the Buckeyes have a chance to get out in front of it and grab JT? I mean, they've never grabbed Kenny Guyton yet, so that makes you wonder if there's a reason. But obviously, JT Barrett coming from that Ben Johnson tree again. He's got to work with Ben Johnson. He's worked with Jared Goff. look at what Caleb Williams is doing with that regime, and that pains me to say it.
Yeah.
But I think obviously it's going to be somebody nobody's expecting, though. At the
Yep.
end of the day, that's Ryan Day's MO when it comes to these hires. But I'm just saying it would not surprise me if he at least gives JT a look.
Yeah. Yeah. I can. I mean, for me, I would love it. I think it's important to. I know everybody wants that veteran experience, but I think there's something to having that energy that the players will feed off of. I think you could supplement and have guys around him who have that experience as
Right.
analysts and different things like that can support him. But I think there's something about having that energy. So I could get behind that. I just don't think Coach Day would have the absolute trust factor in
Right.
giving JT that. I would JT's top 3 favorite Buckeye of all time. So I would lock in and be all about it. Um, but I like you said, I do think it's going to be somebody who we haven't heard of that's coming from the NFL ranks. I also wouldn't be shocked if I mean Joe Moorhead always gets brought up, and I
Yeah.
know he is not a young guy, but I mean if you're going to go the experience route, like it doesn't have to be an NFL guy. It can be an experienced, it can be an experienced college coach. And Joe Moorhead, maybe he doesn't want to be a head coach anymore at
Right.
Akron. And so maybe you say, "Hey man, we're gonna double your salary and
Yeah.
you can just sit back and not go out on the road and recruit and call the plays." Maybe he wants
Yep.
to come do that. Like that's a possibility. I would be all for that.
Oh yeah.
I would be all for that. So all those things are still possible. They're still out there, but we'll see. But I definitely want to see tempo. That is for sure. And I just those guys like Legend Bay, Turbo Rogers, those type of guys that we got to find ways to maximize them, man.
Oh yeah.
I'm not comparing them to Malachi Tony, but when I watch Malachi Tony play, he's a smaller guy. The
Yep.
Miami is not as they just find ways to get him the ball,
Yeah.
and he makes plays. And I want to see us do that and help JJ out next year because teams are going to try to take him away at all costs. So who's going to be that next guy? Who's going to be that guy that's going to make the explosive play? I think Devin McEwen can be set to be that type of player. How can we maximize that? If we get Kyle Parker, I think he could be that type of player. Like, how do we maximize that? And I think we need an offensive coordinator that's going to be creative and getting those guys the ball in innovative ways. And I just think you need some young coaches to do that. But if we go get Joe Moorhead or some experienced, coach, I'm all for it too.
Yeah, I agree absolutely. I did read, from a pretty reliable Twitter account that interviews will start next week. So that obviously, you're going to be down to 4 NFL teams at that point. So I think, and they wanted to get through the portal. So kudos to Ryan Day for that too.
Yeah.
But yeah, obviously we'll keep you guys tuned in to everything that we hear and everything that comes out. Tap in Buckeye Film Breakdown. Um, join the community. We've got a community chat going. We drop everything in there as soon as stuff comes. We may not elaborate on it, but we at least keep you guys in the loop. So tap in there, and we will see you guys later on.